I wanted to love this movie, but really I just liked it. All right, everybody, let's talk about Peaky Blinders, The Immortal Man, starring Cillian Murphy, written by Stephen Knight, the creator of the series, and directed by regular series director Tom Harper. Now, there's a lot of things I thought worked well, but comparing it to the series, I think is probably the issue. Because the series is just so great. I loved every single season, I loved every single episode. And when I think of that in comparison to the movie, it just felt like a 2 hour episode. And there needed more. I needed more buildup of the antagonist. I needed more buildup of what the stakes were. I needed more time spent uh, understanding what Tommy Shelby is going through emotionally and psychologically. The movie picks up way after the events of season six. It's 1940, and the Nazis are creating counterfeit bills to send to England and bankrupt them economically instead of fighting a whole war. I'm wondering if this is actually something that they tried to do. It sounds like something that they would try to do, but that's neither here nor there. But the one guy that is helping them do that is the character played by Tim Roth, Englishman himself, and he's collaborating with the Nazis. And so he enlists the help of Duke, Tommy Shelby's son, his gypsy son, who is now running the Peaky Blinders, while Tommy Shelby himself is basically in exile, self-imposed exile. He's just living, just him and Johnny Dogs, his gypsy friend from the series, and he doesn't want to talk to anybody. And then there's some things that happened between the final season and the film that gets revealed little by little, and it's a big moment. And I feel like, again, you needed more time to do this. I mean, I think instead of a 2 hour movie, it probably should have just been maybe a limited series of like 4 to 6 episodes, and and then have that be done with the Tommy Shelby storyline. By the way, this is a non-spoiler review because there are some things that are revealed and then things, of course, that happen at the end that you probably have a feeling that is going to happen. And that's also another one of my gripes. It's like the conclusion of the Tommy Shelby storyline is just not as cathartic as I was hoping it would be. I mean, this is somebody that we followed for basically 10 years. And we're like, okay, this is going to be the cap, to cap off everything with that storyline. And then, like I said, you kind of know what's going to happen. But then when it does, you're like, okay, but I think it should have been dealt with in a better way or something. I am not a writer, so I'm not going to make any suggestions of that sort. But just as an audience member, it just left me wanting. And the same thing with the dynamic between Tommy Shelby and his son Duke. A great thing, a dynamic between the two of them is built very, very well in the first hour. But I feel like I needed more than just another hour to wrap all of that up, nice and tidy like. I like Rebecca Ferguson's character. She always brings it. She's a great actress, one of the best ones working right now. But again, she's not given enough. She does an excellent job with what she's given in the storyline and in the script, but there needs to be more setup of it. There needs to be more time spent with the characters so you can properly invest in their character arc. I feel as if, Tim Roth's character, with every other antagonist, whether it be the one played by Sam Neill or Adrian Brody, or I forget the name of the actor, but the character he plays is Oswald Mosley. You spend enough time with them so that way when their comeuppance finally happens, you're just like, yes, you totally deserved it. I loved how it happened, and this will be a spoiler part for the show, when Polly shoots and kills Sam Neill's character, it's like a collective, like, all right, it happened. When Adrian Brody finally gets his, also, you know what I mean? You know, as far as the Oswald Mosley character, he doesn't really get his comeuppance in a way that I guess you're, as an audience member, you're conditioned to. But Tommy Shelby still wins in the end. And even though, things are resolved very well by the end of the movie, it feels more like a plot point that needs to be handled instead of a story that needs to be told. And I just didn't think it unfolded in a way that was incredibly satisfying, at least not from what I was expecting. I was expecting way more from it, and then maybe that's my problem for having such high expectations for a show that I absolutely love. Anyways, what about you guys? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Smash that like button, click subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.